And now we're going to get started with our next interview here at Momocon and have the first question come from the outlets.
Hi, I'm Joy with the Morning Podcast, and my question for you is, how did you all, what is your nerd origin story? How did you just get into nerdy or graphic art, the graphic design stuff?
I guess I will start first. I think our nerdom kind of started at a very young age. Our brother would sit us in front of a TV with anime. He would start us sit us right in front of a TV with anime. I think the first thing we watched was Inuyasha, and it was after that it was oh, all these pretty pictures on the TV. And then after that we kind of just started drawing on the walls what we saw, what we thought was interesting. Even if it was on a CD player, we would just draw on it, draw on the wall, draw on anything we could. So it went from anime, and then I think it kind of worked its way into comic books when we got, I think in middle school, I had got Green Lantern. It was the first comic book that I ever grabbed, and that kind of just really opened the world for me for comics. So yeah.
I would say I guess the first thing that kind of really got us into, our nerdom was, of course, like you said, anime and comic books. I think we like to pretty much merge them together anyway when it comes to our style as well. And of course music as well. So we've always really been into merging the three and movies. So I think we're just and games. There's more. So yeah, we like to pretty much get really invested in all those mediums, and I guess it comes out a lot in our artwork.
How do you find that music influences a visual medium?
I think, well, of course, music videos is a big, thing that a lot of people, use. And I guess one of our favorite artists, growing up, we both loved Daft Punk and Gorillaz. So I think because they use art a lot, 2D animation a lot in their music videos, that was something that was really awesome to look at. And even when we're just listening to music, a lot of times, even if you would see your own music video kind of going in your head. So that was also how it I guess triggers the inspiration for art.
I would also say that we started picking up instruments when we were a lot younger, and that really helped us a lot when it how to think about art was with music as well. It kind of aided it, and it made us I think more perfectionists, because I wanted to be better each time I would play a song and then try to adapt that to each medium that we kind of experiment with.
And what would you say are some of your influences? When you mentioned Daft Punk, and I remember with the Feel Good Inc. Video for Gorillaz. Any other musical or artistic painters, designers, movies, etc., that might influence you?
I would say a lot of things really. I'm really drawn to a lot of animation, and I think a lot of animation. So of course anime, cartoons, Cartoon Network, we grew up on it. So that was a very big one. I know, and even a big one as well. I think a lot of people Boondocks was a really good start. That was the first time I've seen something that looked like us, and then it was on TV, and it was just fun to watch. Probably shouldn't watch all of them when we were younger, but it was always fun.
So you mean the blending of an anime style with specifically African American characters, and then the music to go with it? Good blending.
Yes, I'm curious, how does it feel to see create characters that not only resemble yourself, but resemble other people who look like you? I know it's very interesting to grow up in the industry, in a world where there's not a lot of characters who could fulfill specific roles. I mean, I know you just mentioned Boondocks. For me, that was interesting because there's not a lot of black characters in anime that are very appropriate in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so I want to know not only that the effect that seeing those characters had on you, but did you feel compelled to? Did that compel you to find your art style, find your voice in displaying the characters that look like yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think, especially because one of our biggest inspiration was anime, I would always we would make like a challenge between each other to find the black character in there. And I'd be like, okay, there goes one, there goes another one. So I think with us creating stories and working with a lot of with comic books and maybe anime soon, I don't know, I'm very hopeful. But I think that's why I wanted to get into storytelling a lot, because it shouldn't have to be like a challenge to find one. I wanted to be make it available for young people to see themselves, and so they can be inspired like how we were, and then they can create. So that was always my motivation. Do it because that's what I want to see. That's what I want to create. So yeah, I think to backpack off of what she said, I think it was Jordan Peele who said it, create the things you want to see is one of the biggest things that we try to do. We do we're mainly artists, especially when it comes to the comic book process. We do the art, and we also like to bring writers on that want to speak the messages that I guess touch us as well. So I guess one of the books that we did is with writer Greg Burnham. It's Search Exotica. We did the whole art process. We got put on two, but we'll also be doing that in the future as well. And it's a children's book. Well, I guess middle school age book. And I think we want to be able to put artwork in multiple age groups, because even though we look very young, we also want to I guess be our own in multiple ages, because we do Search Exotica, which is more I guess middle school. We did another one that's more older. It's called Fumes. It's just Kickstarter. And then we also want to go younger, and we just want to put more of us in, so that more kids, younger, aren't trying to search, where's people of color, or yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I noticed the word got around in the press corps pretty quickly that you had this amazing drawing from the recent movie Sinners, which is actually sitting right there between you. Can you tell us about what led you to want to draw? Because of course, y'all are twins and they're twins, and there's a whole twin thing, but what compels you or pushed you to want to put your own artwork out under that stamp? Hold it up so everyone can see. It goes both ways, right?
Yes, so we learned from a buyer that it could go sideways, but we drew it to where you can see it this way, and then you can see it the opposite way.
Nice.
And I guess it's, I think, I remember right when we got off the movies, we both was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely drawing a picture for that movie, because I was like, we're twins, they're movie twins, and we, even with our stickers, we also like to do little versions of us, but cosplaying as different characters. And I guess it was a first time in a long time that we've seen I would say a good representation of twins, and that bond that twins have, because a lot of times, twins are henchmen, I guess you could say. And it was really nice to see twins being used in a way that are main characters in a way. So I know that when we did this picture, we both wanted to like both work on it. So I did some parts and I'll just pass it to her, and then she did some parts, and then like when it came, I guess at the end, it was like, oh, this is really nice. And so, you know, I hope that other people can like enjoy it as much as we did, because it was really fun to draw it with my sister.
Do y'all identify with either Smoke or Stack in any way?
I mean, I'm fine with being the vampire because it's like she'll let me in if I was a vampire. Like if I knocked on the door, she'd probably let me in. And like, I would say she's more of the serious one. I like to. It's kind of fun.
I'll take that.
And so like, it was really fun to see that they both had two different personalities. Cause like, a lot of people say like, oh, you guys do everything alike, but it was really nice to see that they had their own personalities. Yeah, it was played by one person, but being two people. I think he did a really good job with separating which one was one. Cause like, even if you saw it, you would know exactly the one, even if he had his hat off. It was like, I thought that was a beautiful job, you know?
I guess I am the serious one. Yeah.
So, what other projects do you have coming up soon?
Okay, so we have a few that's in the works. So recently we did 2 Kickstarters. We had one I did continuing the story. It's called The Shaolin Nun with writer J.C. Carter. I was brought on to do the later issues, 4 through 6, but they already have 1 through 3. And recently, at first it was just me doing the pencils, and then now recently we have both of us working on it. She's going to be doing the inks for the project. So issue 5, we just finished the Kickstarter, and I think it's still available. And then if you want to go ahead and talk about views.
Okay. I talked a little bit about it earlier, but the book is called Fumes. It was our other Kickstarter that we did the art for. The writer is another awesome, beautiful writer, black woman. Her name is M. Dash, and she does a lot of short stories, but this is her first time doing like comic books, and we were really glad that we was able to work with each other because, you know, I guess it was the first time for her, and we're still upcoming, but we still want to bring people up with us. So it is more on the adult side. It is a sci-fi horror, has aliens in it, and we was really happy because I got to design aliens. So you know, I love drawing cute things, but I also really like to draw like aliens and monsters as well. So check that out because it was really fun.
And last question.
Do you ever find that if you're working on a project, do you ever get to a point where you can just look at your art before the writer puts their words in and see the story unfold?
Yeah.
Or, oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely. like before before the letter goes over it, I like to look at it like if it's telling the story without the words, that's where I want to get the project. It's like first you look at it and then you read the story and you're like, okay, it comes together like music, you know? So that's definitely, that means we did a good job.
I like to tell people that, like, you know, essentially our job is kind of like the director. We want to make sure the scene is like clear, so like even if you want to see it without words, you know, we want to make sure we get it to that point, you know, so that it could be translated in any language or no language at all. So once we get it to that point where, you know, the scenes are set, you know, the emotions are conveyed to, you know, people, that's like where we can then pass it to the letterer. And even in the lettering stage, sometimes like the words, you know, the dialogue will change given the emotions on the face.
Can you provide your social media for those that would be interested in following you?
Yes, it's still early, but our social media is SiameseFros Art, and we also have a website. It is the same, SiameseFros Art. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're at the end of our interview, and we'd love to get some pictures with you with